Hello, Zusaman, and welcome to It's a Wonderful Podcast. My name is Nolan Dean. I am here as always as Mr. Morgan Robinson, and it's the last episode of Horror Month, guys.
It is.
It's been quite a ride. It's been quite a scary ride. I'm not just talking about living in your shed for a week. But what a good one to end off on.
Very
today.
good one.
We are talking about Dos Cabines de Caligari. I don't know why.
Dos Cabines.
I think it was.
Dos Cabines de Dr. Caligari.
I think that's.
I am Spanish. Hello.
Yeah.
What's his name? Juan Caligari.
I don't know, but God, what do I know? We are just being ridiculous as usual.
Yeah.
Morgan, for Christ's sake, take
Yeah.
over.
Hello, everyone. I am Morgan Robinson. As you well know, that is Nolan Dean, who has delightfully introduced this episode 28 of It's a Wonderful Podcast. It's fun, like you said. It's the end of horror month now. There's no more horror for a bit after this, unless we decide to, do a random horror movie at some point. It's been a good month. What was first of all, I think before we start talking about The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, which is today's movie, the earliest movie we have done, 1920. Potentially the earliest movie we're going to do for a long, long time. I mean, I know a couple of things from the 1910s that we could eventually get onto 4,000 episodes down the line.
I'm sure we could.
But who knows? You might be listening to podcast history right now, or specifically, It's a Wonderful Podcast History,
which has its own wiki page, as I'm sure Raoul has set up.
I would like that very much. Please do that. Anyone. Doesn't have to be Raoul. If Raoul wants to do it, let him set up a wiki page for this show. In fact, don't let him set up a wiki page for this show, because we all know what it's likely to be. So, before we do start talking about this really wonderful movie, what would you say your favourite of the bunch we've done for Horror Month are?
I'd have to say Fall of the House of Usher.
Okay, I like it. I like it a lot. Why that one?
Well, one, because we had Kimber on the episode.
We did. It was a great episode. It was the best episode, I'd have to say.
Two, there weren't any annoying kids in it.
No, there weren't. There were in The Innocents, you see.
And it was the only one, besides The Innocents, that I hadn't seen. And it was really cool to kind of board the Vincent Price train with you and Kimber.
I like that. I like that answer. I like that answer a lot.
What's your favourite, Ben?
Obviously, it was the same. Although I did like The Innocents. It was my first time watching The Innocents. I really did like The Innocents. You can't beat Price. You'll never beat Price. Ironically, I think Nosferatu was my least.
Really?
Yeah. I prefer Caligari over Nosferatu a lot. And mistakenly, now we thought before F.W. Murnau directed Caligari, he did not.
Really?
Robert Weine directed The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari.
Robert Weine. Is
Or,
that spelled with a W?
Weine, or, yeah.
It's spelled with a W.
However, Germans pronounce Weine. Because I never took German. Nolan, did you take German?
No, I did not.
And so I took French, you see. We do any French films, and I'm all over the pronunciation.
Just as well, one of them won't be raw.
One of them won't be raw. But Les Diaboliques we could do at some point. So, yeah.
Isn't Fantastic Planet French?
Fantastic Planet was French, actually, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It's a fair point. Fantastic Planet was French. If you haven't listened to the episode on Fantastic Planet, I believe it was number 21 or 20. It was during Animation Month. It's a wonderful movie. Wonderfully weird movie.
Very.
Probably the weirdest movie we've done since this one.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Because Dr. Caligari is a weird movie. This was one of Nolan's choices for this month of horror goodness. And, I mean, I don't want to say he probably chose it because it was a nice double feature with Nosferatu.
I mean,
But
that's one of the reasons.
that was probably the reason he chose it. What was another reason then? What was some other reasons?
Well, I love going back to see, because I'm a big Tim Burton fan,
Yeah.
and the way Caligari looks, you can tell that pretty much inspired all of Tim Burton's movies.
That is that is a very, very true statement. I don't think it's not an opinion that you've just stated. That is just a fact. Because there is no parallel lines in Caligari. I don't think there's a single parallel line in the entire film.
Everything's so weird and misshapen, including Dr. Caligari himself.
Dr. Caligari's is he misshapen? Looks like a fairly in proportion gentleman.
I mean, there's one thing with his hairline that always puts me off.
His top hat is very large.
Yeah.
And his glasses are very small. So maybe...
And he's also a Nazi.
I mean, the actor was. Werner Krauss played... that was quite good German pronunciation there. Werner Krauss was apparently a Nazi. He played Dr. Caligari. I actually think he gives a great performance.
He does. He's terrifying.
He's creepy as all hell.
He looks like the Penguin from Batman Returns.
Yes, he kind of does.
It's fucking terrifying. And this whole movie, we were saying, it's kind of funny that Nosferatu takes inspiration from Dracula. Yeah. I feel this takes a lot of inspiration from Frankenstein.
See, I want you to explain this, because you've been going on about this a bit since we've watched it, and while we were watching it, and I obviously see Dr. Caligari as, well, the thing is, it's such a weird movie because it's like a story within a story within a story.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a couple of twists at the end, or just reveals really, at the end that just throw you completely off.
Oh yeah.
And I love it so much. It's why I don't really want to get too spoilery on this, because I do completely believe you should watch Dr. Caligari knowing nothing about the actual story of it, because it'll freak you out how impressive the narrative is for a film from 1920.
I can only say for sure that the only member of our audience that has watched this is Billy Polahan. I don't know if anybody else in our crowd has watched it. Maybe Kimber, which is the only one I can think
well,
of.
I wouldn't. Wait, yeah, I would say anybody who hasn't should.
Yeah, it's
not
a. You can find it on YouTube for free. It's in the public domain.
You can actually. That's true. Shh.
Well, it's not. It's not illegal. It's public domain.
Well, yeah, I suppose it is. Yeah, I suppose it is. Unless it's. I don't think it might be in America. I think the US public, mind you, it's a German production.
Yes, rights issues are always weird.
So I don't know. I don't profess to be of any worthwhile legal knowledge, but yes, please elaborate on this Frankenstein idea.
I mean, they've got this mime, and it's Caesar or Cesare.
Cesar. With a
yeah, you got to really emphasize that bit. But and you have Dr. Caligari, who you think for a while is kind of controlling him.
Yes.
So I see a lot of parallels there between Victor Frankenstein and Frankenstein's monster.
I see the parallels within the relationship. I get that.
Yeah, that's really what I'm getting. The story is not like Frankenstein at all, but
yeah.
I can see some little inspirations. Like, how if someone's pitching a story, they might say it's this meets this.
Yeah.
This could be like Frankenstein meets weird German folklore. I don't know.
Weird German folklore. Frankenstein meets the carnival.
Yeah, there you go.
Frankenstein meets the carnival. Yeah, obviously the story isn't like Frankenstein. Cesar is a somnambulist or sleepwalker.
What a great word to say.
Somnambulist is a fantastic word. It's a word that I had no idea what it meant until I learned that it meant sleepwalker, or like night walker. He's basically a guy that was committed to a madhouse, as they call it.
He is a mad person.
Because he was 23 years old and he had been asleep for 23 years.
That reminds me of creepypasta so hard.
Dr. Caligari awakens the sleepwalker and has him commit murders. Yay!
And from that, we get loads of great imagery in this.
From that, we do get loads of great imagery.
I've spoken about imagery a lot this month.
You have.
it's not because I'm becoming one of those film bros, I promise. But the imagery in this is so damn terrifying.
No, it is. I mean, even just I think what I really do love about Dr. Caligari, that something like Nosferatu didn't do so much. He definitely did it, but when editing scenes together, you get the little point of view circles.
Oh, yeah.
That just... Obviously, that's done by a guy going in front of the camera lens with a sheet of paper and going like that over it with a circle drawn out and just moving that around and just say, "Ooh, focus here now."
Oh, yeah, there wasn't any iMovie back then.
No, focus here now. Okay, focus on this person now, and then this person. And then, okay, we'll take the piece of paper off and you can see the entire scene. But now when the scenes fade in, let's just fade back and focus on this person. Because this is the really important part here. I'd love it if movies today did that technique. I would love it so much. It's so clever of just telling you without feeling like it's spoon feeding you, of just saying, just think about this for a little bit. Just that. I don't know exactly what the technique's called. I'm sure someone who studies film as a filmmaker would probably know what that's called. I call it the point of or the viewing circle. Let's call it the viewing circle.
I like the viewing circle. We'll deal with that.
Yeah, but I mean, as far as the imagery goes, this is the most expressionistic German expressionist film.
I believe did this invent German expressionism?
I'm not sure when German expressionism actually started. I'm not sure what was the first, but the two we've talked about are the two most well known.
I mean, I have seen Germans expressing themselves from that time, and it's not great.
1920, I mean,
That was around
between
World
world wars.
Yeah. But that's kind of the most terrifying thing about this for me, is that the guy who plays Dr. Caligari was a Nazi.
Why is that the most... I mean, obviously in real world situations, why is that... Do you just fail to get that out of your head when you're watching it?
More or less, yeah, and the themes of this movie do deal a lot with, like, abuse of power and authoritarianism. And,
I mean, that's fair.
And, like, there's even some, like, analysis to say that this was kind of reminiscent of how the Nazi Party felt like, and that Cesare could have represented like a soldier, and then Dr. Caligari represents like a German general who's like using him and sending him out to war to do his bidding.
I quite like that. I quite like that a lot, because it's you even get like the whole mythology of Dr. Caligari that you learn about in the film.
He's a hypnotist.
Is that Caligari was a madman. Or, the essence of Caligari is a madman who awakens people awakens the somnambulist, so a sleeping person, which, you can just symbolize to a regular person, a person who's just going about their life as they want to go about it. Caligari being an authoritative figure. And he comes down,
being drawn to power,
and he says to the regular person, "Go and commit murder." That's what Caligari's doing. That's all Caligari's doing, and I like this mirroring of the
mirror of Nazi Germany.
Of this whole. I mean, even though. I mean, between world wars, it is between world wars, so you could. Definitely say, I wouldn't say Nazi Germany in 1920.
Yeah,
because that's not a thing in 1920.
I did not take history at GCSE.
That's not a thing. Nazis came into power in 1936, I believe.
It could be seen as like, those kind of movies that almost predict the future.
Yeah, but I mean, obviously, it's still being that it's still between world wars, and obviously Germany was one of the sides in World War One. That it's still a kind of could have this military angle, this weird little subconscious military angle to it that I've never even begun to thought about before. So I'm very glad you've brought that up.
Well, that's me. I always bring up weird theme and allegory ideas. That's because I'm the writer. That's what I do.
It's good. Yeah, I mean that's fair. I mainly look at Caligari as a let me throw this one out. 15 minutes into the episode, I'm gonna throw the word carnivalesque out to you. Have you heard about this theory? It's a philosophy theory.
Go on.
By a Russian guy called Mikhail Bakhtin.
I know the name.
He came up with a theory called, it's mainly a literary theory.
Ooh, my
called
favorite kind.
called the carnivalesque. And it's taken from the idea of the carnival, or the medieval carnival, that would come into town, and it would be a place where it'd be like a forbidden place.
Mm-hmm.
A place where certain things, they would come into town, and it would be a place where the locals would be able to express all their inherent desires, because they would go about their regular life just like, oh, the carnival's in town. Let's go and have the fun we actually want, with all this weirdness is, and all this otherworldliness is. It's a great theory if you look. I'm not like so deep in on it that I could take you on for the next 15 minutes about it. I just want to bring that up. I think if someone's looking, or if someone's listening to this episode right now, Google, search carnivalesque, and you'll realise what I'm trying to say. I'm no philosopher. I just really want.
Like a philosopher.
I know, but I really wanted to bring up this theory because the film Cabinet of Dr. Caligari is a carnivalesque movie, because it's a movie in the most literal sense, because it is about a carnival. It's about a carnival where a guy comes in and does weird things up to the point of criminal things.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the sort of balance with the whole theory in general, is the carnival is a place where people go to do things they want to do, but that can sometimes be morally wrong things.
Yeah, I totally get where you're coming from. Like,
I hope it makes some sort of sense
does,
what I'm trying to say.
What I'm getting from that is it's sort of they're fascinated by the weird.
Fascinated by the weird, fascinated by things that they can't usually see. It's like
But it shows more that they see the weird as like things rather than people, like tools.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's like it can be a psychological thing as well. Like
it's basically what P.T. Barnum was like in real life.
Yeah, well, maybe. But it can be a psychological thing as well. Like the carnival can be a place to express your id desires rather than your regular, ego. Because
did you take psychology?
I didn't take psychology. I took film and media, so I did a bit of this in relation to certain films, which I've mostly forgot about. But I have never forgotten the word carnivalesque, which is why I'm offering a very surface level knowledge of this Russian guy's theory right now.
But I do like that. That does add to the layers of this movie pretty well.
It does. I like it. I mean, on a surface level, the main thing to appreciate about this movie is the set design.
Oh yeah. Nothing in this movie looks normal.
Nothing in this movie looks normal. The set design is as weird as the story itself. It's as weird as everything else about the movie. German Expressionism did this thing where, it's in the name, Expressionism. It didn't tell you things. It expressed things by what it looked like. If they wanted something to look weird, if they wanted a movie to come off as weird, they would make it look weird.
I do wonder, though, is the reason the town looks weird is because it's someone telling a story, and maybe it's how they view the thing.
I mean, it's someone telling a story even in the film.
Yeah, it's...
Quite possibly, and... Okay, slight spoiler. Because the fella that's telling the story in the film isn't all there himself...
Yeah.
That's just another layer onto the weirdness of Caligari. I'm not giving away too many spoilers of this because I really think it's important to watch Caligari without knowing any
what I
real
did
thing
and
about the
watch
story.
the Cinemassacre Monster Madness episode on it, and then just get curious and then watch the whole thing.
You can do that if you want. I don't think, in comparing this slightly to Nosferatu, I don't think this is necessarily as creepy as Nosferatu.
I get that. It's more... Well, Nosferatu's creepy in a sense that, it looks like a nightmare. This is more like... This is like if you watch kind of a true crime story and you're kind of wowed by it and you're thinking, how did that happen?
I mean,
with Nosferatu, it's fictional.
It's almost like a fantastical true crime story though, because there's a lot. There's fantasy. Maybe you throw out magical realism. I always like magic realism anyway. But there are parts of this film that are very fantastical.
Oh yeah, very. Including Dr. Caligari's hairstyle. Which
does look particularly insane.
Yep.
I really do appreciate the very, very obvious thing of the set design though in this movie. I also think this is a really pacey movie.
Oh yeah.
I think it's a really easy to watch movie.
I mean, we were saying you got to Act 3 and I was like, is it over already? Turns out there's more acts to the movie.
There's 6 acts. 6 acts to the movie. Usually plays are those 3-act structures. Usually movies are in a 3-act structure.
Yep. Sometimes they can go to 5 acts, which I've read about.
Dr. Caligari happens to have 6, which maybe...
Feels more like a play.
Which maybe is even weirder. Which maybe is just, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this.
I do want to talk about Cesare a bit.
Please talk about Cesare.
How have mimes not become like a horror icon? Because you think clowns, vampires, werewolves, dolls.
He does look.
Mimes.
Yeah, he does look like a street mime.
Mimes are terrifying
because they don't speak.
Because they don't speak, and there's something about the black and white symbolism of them where it looks so still.
Yeah.
And you have no idea what's going to happen even if you're seeing a mime in real life. I'm surprised mimes have not gone on to become like a trope of horror. I would like
to see it. I'm sure there has been some.
Probably, we just don't know one. If you guys know any mime horror movies,
please let us know. I'm sure there has been some somewhere.
And there's probably one called Trapped Inside a Box.
Yeah, I'm trapped in a box. Oh no. Although a mime wouldn't be speaking, would he? So
no.
Don't know where that's come from. Though Cesare. I'm gonna keep calling him Cesare.
You gotta really get on that.
You have. Oh no. I'll stop doing that right now.
Cesare.
I'm stopping doing that. Right, well, he's wearing tights.
How fuckable is Cesare?
Don't even not even a question I want to give any sort of thought. He does have this look of the mime though, because his face is very pale.
There's kind of an innocence to him.
And he does, because he's an object of control. He is purely there for Caligari to tell what to do. He's creepy because in a different sense to Caligari. Caligari's creepy because he is controlling and he is insane. He's insane as the people in the madhouse in this movie.
It's interesting to me that he's fascinated by the Caligari legend because he's drawn to power.
Yeah, see, you've gone into spoiler territory here again. Sack it! Let's do it!
Okay. Well, that wasn't really a spoiler anyway. The Caligari legend is part of folklore.
Yeah.
We can dance around this, I think.
No spoiler.
No spoilers. We'll go back and...
No spoiler.
Yeah, the fact that this guy's drawn to power and will use Cesare for his bidding, that is... Just that concept alone for me is terrifying.
Yeah, because it's just controlling, but Cesare
Growing up without a father figure and then having your only image of a father figure be this controlling madman.
Yeah. It is. It's terrifying. That's why...
tragedy also.
That's what it is. That's why Caligari, the character, is terrifying, but why Cesare, the character, is terrifying, is because he is completely without self-control. He will, at this point, do anything. And he murders 3 people?
Some of the shots where he kills people are pretty scary. You just see the shadow of the knife and him there.
Yeah. I mean,
which is also black and white on the cinematography level. Mimes again.
There's a lot of shadow, and again, especially in some of in the room with, I forget the girl's name, but when he goes into the girl's room and the room is so tall, it doesn't look like it's got a ceiling. It probably hasn't got a ceiling.
It's a set.
If you were to go on the set. But it's just so tall, it's so weird looking, and it all works perfectly to just create a very, very unsettling image.
I'd love to know if that was real. In fact, we can check if it's real, because I believe Raoul went to the opening weekend of this movie. When he was only 10 years old.
He was only 10 in Germany. In 1920.
He was backpacking through Germany.
He was backpacking... People didn't. He was backpacking through Germany. Happened upon a cinema. So, what's this film playing? I won't be able to tell what it says, because there won't be any subtitles, because we're in Germany.
Probably just looked at the imagery and enjoyed it.
Unless he
very
speaks
much.
German. Who knows? I look at the imagery and enjoy it very much, as I've said about 18 times already.
Mm-hmm.
I look at the unsettling set design and the carnival. There was one shot where the carnival itself was just on a weird slant.
And I love that kind of style is coming back a bit in horror.
It's unnatural.
Yeah,
How so? What in? Go.
Hereditary has a little bit of German expressionism in it with the shadows and everything like that. Slightly weirder example, but it's one of the things that I appreciated about this movie. But Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom has a lot of German expressionism in the end. With the way, like, the raptor moves and stuff.
That's a weird sentence.
It is weird, but that's there.
Let's claim that as the sentence of the week. New segment, Sentence of the Week with Nolan Dean. Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom has a lot of German expressionism in it.
The final act of that movie is all German expressionism with dinosaurs, and it's awesome.
Madness. I didn't see Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, did I? Obviously. So I have no input.
I'll show you some clips after.
I don't want to see Jurassic. I don't want to see weird non-German expressionism in nonsense Jurassic World films.
There's moments like where they use the lighting in that, and like you'll see the outline of a dinosaur, and it looks terrifying. It's one of the things I like. I hope German expressionism does come back, because A24 would be great for that.
A24 does its own thing though. A24 does its own bleak thing. A24's not so. You couldn't do expressionist cinema now, because expressionist cinema works so well because it's silent, and the actors have to act way more with their bodies, with their hands, with their facial expressions.
What was that
than they do now?
Film that came out in the modern age?
What, The Artist?
Yeah.
It was kind of a silent.
Yeah, we won't talk
movie.
about The Artist.
I don't know why you've brought that up, to be perfectly honest with you.
I'm
side-eyeing him right now. What?
I'm trying to think if silent films could come back.
I mean, it'd be nice. It'd be nice, but go back and watch these silent films. That's what I'm saying to you.
Or just mute your movies.
But yeah, expressionism. It couldn't work in a talking film, because as a word, expressionist is very. Let's throw our arms out and smile a lot, and it's expression, it's projection with the body that you just don't need to do.
And there's one scene
in talking. You don't need to do that in talking pictures. You need to do that more in theatre.
Oh yeah, it's very theatrical.
Which is why expressionism and silent movies are way more linked, or way more. They feel way more like a theatre production. This feels like a theatre production, because you can imagine these sets being painted. Just stood
Sets
behind.
Are literally painted.
I mean, they are, but this is a theatre production more than it is a film. And that is kind of how silent films are.
It's a good thing, though.
It is a good thing. It's a great thing. It works perfectly. What did you want to say?
There's that one scene where expressionism is used to like a terrifying degree, and it's when Dr. Caligari says, "Ask Cesare your future." And
Oh,
when
yeah.
the guy asks how long will he live, he says until dawn, and then you just see the look on his face, pure confusion, terror, and
It is, yeah.
unsettledness, and then that guy's dead pretty soon.
He is, and that's I believe you get a circle viewpoint
More
in that
circle
scene as
viewpoints.
well. So it's always nice. Yeah, seriously though, I mean, this is a fun movie to watch though.
Yeah.
I don't think Nosferatu is a fun movie. I think
Nosferatu is more of it's more interesting for me
yeah.
because of
Nosferatu is a really interesting movie. It's a great movie. It's an unsettling movie. This is just like a weird trip of a movie.
Oh yeah, can you imagine watching this while high?
No, not a chance.
Because
You'd
Morgan
be out
does not get high. We do not endorse weed yet until it's legal.
in this country, which it isn't. Legally, we can't say anything, can we?
No.
Legally,
We can say this movie's great.
legally, we can say this movie is great. That is, I like that. Legally, no legal battles for It's a Wonderful Podcast, please. Not today, not tomorrow, not next week, not next month, and please never. Lawyers, prosecutors, please don't.
Dr. Caligari.
Dr. Caligari, please don't Please don't do that. What was I talking about? What was you talking about?
Oh, we were just talking about the expressionist bit.
Oh, the guy and the face and the more
and it's kind
circle
of, it's kind of tragic
viewpoints.
that in an expressionist
It's a great scene.
film, Cesare doesn't show a lot of expression.
Cesare's not supposed to show a lot.
And that's kind of the tragedy of it.
Cesare's
It's like he's being forced to suppress his emotions.
This is strange because the guy who plays Cesare is a guy called Conrad Veidt,
What a great name.
who also played the Joker's inspiration, the Man Who Laughs, in
I could definitely see that.
in 1928. You'll have seen the stills of the guy with his big smile. He looked like Joker. He is the Joker, but it's from a film called The Man Who Laughs in 1928, which is like a weird romance film, if anything else. But in that one, obviously, he's very expression filled, but it's only that expression. Even when he's sad, he's still got this huge
it's like tears of a clown kind
Joker smile on his face. So maybe Conrad Veidt is a guy that likes only having the one expression in expressionist films, and maybe that's why he works so well as these sort of very tragic characters.
You just made me think of something right there.
Go.
If any movie in the future is going to use elements of German expressionism, that Joaquin Phoenix Joker film would be perfect. Imagine if you saw that.
Or just weirdness all
Just
around.
weird Joaquin Phoenix doing weird expressionist stuff.
I would like it.
I'd love it.
I would like the film to be made with expressionism. And I would like the sets to be weird.
I actually wanted the title of that to be The Man Who Laughs. Don't even call it Joker.
I would not say no to that. Because nobody would confuse it with the actual movie The Man Who Laughs, because nobody's heard of The Man Who Laughs from 1928
Just us.
with Conrad Veidt.
And I did some research into some other versions of Caligari.
Okay.
There was a quasi-sequel in the 80s
What?
focusing on Caligari's daughter, who worked in a mental asylum,
Okay.
and committed sexual acts against the patients.
Oh, well, that's a very
That's very 80s.
I can understand. I understand that with this world that this movie creates. The asylum scenes.
Oh, they're so unsettling.
The asylum scenes are really they're so good though.
They're unsettling, but they're the most normal-looking thing in the movie.
They're by far the most, because the town that it's set in is the most abnormal thing looking, and that obviously comes from the asylum patient telling the story.
Yep.
Because it's obviously
somebody
in
telling
his
him
dream
the world was
about.
gonna roll him.
No, not about doing that. That's your reference for the episode. Anybody who doesn't get that, you're not locked in enough. I'm sorry. but maybe it comes from that. But yeah, the asylum, it being such a major part of the story, is seen on the odd occasion, and is the most normal looking thing in the entire movie. However, what happens there, it does say a lot about the movie that an asylum is the most, I'm calm here, this looks normal, it's an asylum. But it's where the most enjoyable stuff in the movie actually happens. Because it's, like I said, this movie is so narratively strong for the time it came out. It's not like, it's not a simple narrative. Mm-hmm. Because there's those two really big twisty reveals towards the end that are just like, whoa, wait a minute, and then, whoa, okay.
We won't reveal what those are because you should just go watch the movie and find out.
But you do. You are like, oh, okay, and then 10 minutes later, you're just like, oh, okay, I like this now. This is great. Very, very early film narrative twist. Mm-hmm. I do not know of an earlier one.
M. Night Shyamalan probably took inspiration from it.
I have no doubt that M. Night Shyamalan, king of twists, took inspiration from the twists in Caligari.
So who do you think is more frightening, Caligari or Nosferatu?
To me, Caligari.
I would go Caligari as well.
Nosferatu.
I think Caligari's ideology is more frightening.
Caligari's a real human being.
Yeah, that's the scary part. Whereas Nosferatu, you can't, even though he's a monster, you get what he's doing. What he's doing. He's just trying to live.
Exactly. That's the thing with vampires. You can't say, oh, vampires are evil. They're not evil. They're just vampires.
Yeah. Whereas Caligari is a guy drawn to power and manipulates and uses people.
Yeah.
And it's just a scumbag.
Caligari's a horrible human being.
Oh, God.
Caligari's a horrible human being, which is probably why the actor is also a horrible human being.
Yep. It's no doubt to me that this role would have been attracted to him. Ooh, I can express how I feel. That's my German accent.
That was a German accent. I thought that was just your natural accent.
Are you saying I sound German?
No, I'm not saying German? That wasn't even German. That just sounded like you were excited.
Well, he was probably excited.
Ooh, hello. That sounded like when I do that.
Caligari to me looks like evil Willy Wonka. That's how I view him.
No. I'm not. I will not hear Dr. Caligari and Willy Wonka in the same sentence.
Well, you just did. There's your other sentence of the week.
I do not want to hear that at all. But no, I completely agree with you. I think Caligari's ideology, Caligari's motives of being so controlling and so he's in this place of power and he loves this place of power that he's got up to the point where certain things happen later on in the film and he crumbles slightly. Or at least the story, the quote-unquote story version of Caligari crumbles. Spoilers, slight. But yeah, he's a really really interesting character.
Great villain.
He's Caligari. This is a really, really interesting movie because it is so enjoyable as a German weird silent horror movie. It's so much fun.
So because most of our audience hasn't seen this,
I don't know. They might have done. Who knows?
Recommend this to someone who hasn't seen it.
Yeah, go for it.
I'd say, imagine the most terrifying, creepy, weird nightmare you've ever had in your life, and then you get to watch someone else experience it. That's how I described Caligari. Yeah.
You know, you should have the same reaction that the guy who the asylum patient is telling the story to, that the other guy has at the end when he realizes certain things and his eyes just go And he's just like, that's the exact reaction you're going to have to Caligari. You might not have that with Nosferatu. You'll be impressed by the filmmaking style of Nosferatu. You will enjoy watching. I personally really enjoy watching Caligari more.
Yep, and you can find this on YouTube. You don't have to buy it unless you want to buy it.
Stop. Yeah, buy it.
Yeah, buy it.
Buy it. You should do that.
Yeah, go get
Support
the Blu-ray that's got a very cool cover.
Has actually. I saw a Blu-ray. Rather expensive Blu-ray though.
I know, but I mean, it'd be worth it, I guess.
It would be worth it because it'd come with all sorts of weird stuff. I imagine it comes with a load of essays that are way more interesting to listen to than this particular episode of It's a Wonderful Podcast. But that's exactly why we do it, because we do this to discover these old movies and to...
You could see Dr. Caligari being a good Halloween costume.
Dr. Caligari, but Cesar would be a great Halloween costume.
I don't have the figure for Cesar. Cesar is too sexy for me.
See, you just mimes are terrifying. Cesar is sexy.
He's sexy,
Pick one.
But terrifying.
He's sexy but terrifying. Well then, no, I think that's all. I think that's all you need to know about Nolan's psyche today. Yeah. What else? I mean, I don't know. I've lost the plot now from that sentence. Thank you very much.
I can't think of anything else to say about this other than go see it yourself. It's weird. It's got a lot of weird imagery. It's got a lot of weird characters.
A lot of weird characters.
If you want a really great horror villain,
Caligari.
Dr. Caligari.
Yeah, that's going to do us. It's a bit of a shorter episode this week. Yeah. It's a short movie. It's a fun movie. I only touched on the surface level of the Carnivalesque because I'm no philosopher.
Even though you look like one.
Even though I might look like one in this Lakers hat that I'm wearing right now. Don't know what philosophers wear Lakers hats. Do you?
You do.
I don't. I do actually wear a Lakers hat, but I'm not a philosopher, so even though you think I am. Who knows? Who knows what life is anymore? Dr. Caligari knows what life is.
Yeah, it's power.
Dr. Caligari, life is power. Life is control. But no, this is such a wonderful movie, such a weird movie. Anyone should go and watch Dr. Caligari. It's been a bit of a shorter episode, this episode.
But you can also go back and listen
It's a Wonderful
other
Podcast.
Episodes of Horror Month, have a nice little binge session and watch all of those movies.
Yes, you can. It'll be a great binge of movies, and it'll be a great binge of episodes of the show.
Yeah, just go for a long car journey.
For a very long car journey.
Go and
listen
pick
to
up
them all.
In like a store that's miles away from you.
Listen to them all. I hope you have enjoyed listening to Horror Month, or if this is your first episode listening to the show, I hope we have not deterred you too much, and you may join us again. And or go back and listen to the previous 27 episodes of this ridiculous show where we watch old movies, some of which we know, some of which are first-time watches for at least one of us, most of which are first-time watches for at least one of us, I would say. No, because you've picked plenty that I've never seen before.
That's true. We have our fair share of first-time watches.
But that's why we do the show, because we want to also bring some awareness of old movies to new film fans. That is why we always do the show. That's why we always have done the show. That was our goal from the word go. To bring awareness to old movies that may be at risk of being forgotten about. Not that I think they should be forgotten about. Not that I think they are being forgotten about. But a new generation of film fans tend to not go back in time too far. We're here to help. That's what we're here for.
Just consider this show your DeLorean.
Exactly. Guys, thank you again for listening to episode 28 of It's a Wonderful Podcast. Nolan, where can people find you?
You can currently find me in my flat playing with my new Black Manta figure.
That is not a euphemism. He does actually own a Funko of Black Manta from Aquaman.
And you should, describe what my face was like when we saw it in the store. A
child on Christmas morning. Tiny Tim on Christmas morning once he realises that the guy dressed as Santa at his front door is Ebenezer Scrooge. Depending which version of A Christmas Carol, that could either be Michael Caine, Albert Finney, Alistair Sim, not Jim Carrey. Nobody cares for the Jim Carrey one. People do actually like that one, though, don't they?
I actually like that one.
It could be, I don't know, Bill Murray Scrooged. That's a thing.
Good one, yeah.
The other ones, what else ones are there?
But yeah, anyway, this Black Man.
I don't know why I'm talking about A Christmas Carol now.
I've just been playing with that and trying to get the head balance.
That's a movie we should do for Christmas.
A Christmas Carol.
The musical one, because I love the musical one so much.
Not a bad shout, that. But you can also find me at NolanDean27 on Twitter. You can find me at your local karaoke bar, belting out Britney tunes.
Of course you can.
In German.
In German. In German. He's now obsessed with German movies thanks to these last two. Yeah. He wants to go and watch all the old German movies. Guys, find me on the Twitters at the Purple Dom with a 3 instead of the E in the, because 3 is the
magic number.
3 is the magic number. Or you can find me on Instagram at just the Purple Dom, because Instagram's nice to me and I don't have to put a 3 in there. Guys, also subscribe and download to all the audio feeds. You can find them on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Podbean, Castbox, anywhere else you may be able to find them. On
Grindr, Tinder.
No. We are still on YouTube too, but the focus on the audio feeds more because that is what helps us more. So please subscribe to those audio feeds, download the episodes, listen to the episodes, because that'd be nice as well, and leave those nice 5-star ratings where you can, because we love you and would love it if you would do that.
Also, Dr. Caligari may or may not show up at your window if you don't do that.
Look, I'm not going to say anything. That's his decision, right? Don't blame me if a weird guy in a top hat shows up at your door if you don't give us a 5-star rating. Blame Nolan. It's not my fault. I didn't say anything. Guys, thank you. I always say guys, don't I?
Yeah.
I always say guys like that. Guys, thank you so much for listening to episode 28, a slightly shorter episode of It's a Wonderful Podcast, the end of horror month. Nolan, what the hell are we going to do next? Who knows? But I'm sure it'll be wonderful.
Because it's a wonderful podcast.
Nolan, see us out.
Danke euch allen für das Zuhören und bis zum nächsten Mal. Tschüss.
Don't ask me what he's just said. Translate it from the German. Bye, guys.
Tschüss, guys.